It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. The show's brought to you by emailrevealer.com. Check out my website, emailrevealer.com. If you want to catch your husband cheating online, visit the website, give us his email address. We'll trace it back to online dating websites. Today we've got a special show for you. I was chatting online last night with, many of you may remember, Mark Harris. He used to be a regular on the Howard Stern show all the time. Really charming guy, old Hollywood. He married Martha Ray, and it was very controversial. And he wound up on a Howard Stern show doing bits and comedy appearances all the time. He was very popular. So he's a Trump supporter right now. I think he's like a Trump representative. He loves Donald Trump. And you know me, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. So last night, me and Mark got into a late night Facebook debate, calling each other out, challenging each other to a duel, right? But at the end of it, like a couple of nuts that we both are, we made up. We've become friends. Mark Harris is now my buddy. In fact, you guys know how much I love to chat online and email back and forth. Mark Harris has been emailing me all day long since he got home from church today. But I'd say he's a charming guy, very likable, and very charismatic, and has really become a good friend of mine. So, Mark, are you there?
I'm here, and I welcome all my fellow Americans and everyone else who might be listening to your show this evening. I wish you all the best.
So, Mark, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who is Mark Harris?
Okay, first of all, I was born Mark Harris Blefeld. My family on my father's side were fortunate enough. They were in the entertainment business in Berlin, and they left in 1912. Many people do not know, but Germany was the best country for the Jews and had the most brilliant Jews of all in the world because they were allowed to go to public school, old land, department stores, lawyers, everything like the American Jews today. And they couldn't believe when Hitler even wrote Mein Kampf, even though they digested it. Mostly they were so patriotic. They were German first. My great-grandfather fought for the Kaiser, that they couldn't believe it. So by great fortune, and a lot of them that came to America wound up on Broadway. You might remember the great Molly Picon. She was called the Jewish Helen Hayes. Or if you watch the Abbott and Costello show, my father's first cousin was the landlord, Sid Fields. And they had a good entertainment background, although they grew up kosher and Orthodox. My father didn't subscribe to that, and I was born only to find my way to trust and belief in a spiritual hereafter and God as I do. I'm not a religious person. I think religion tends to separate people, and I believe not in liberal or the word conservative. I like to believe in moderation, whether it's eating, voting, or whatever. But when I believe in something, I will go to the wall, as I am for Trump, because I believe him to be a very loyal, good man. And as a child, my father instilled patriotism in me and many stories. And I was told, don't ever argue with success. And he is a self-made man.
Oh, no, wait a second. That's interesting. You believe that Trump is a self-made man?
Yes, I do. I mean, it's one thing that he took over he worked at it physically, because I was in the same part of Brooklyn when Donald Trump, brought up these housing and tore down the old Coney Island bungalows and made Trump Village and Warbass housing that still stand. And he did it all himself and without his father. And I know, went into casinos. I know he went bankrupt 4 times, not personally. I find him not to be a politician, which is most refreshing, because although I am a registered Republican ever since I could have voted, and I had a bisexual existence, now I consider myself gay. Matter of fact, I had my last date with a woman in June in Las Vegas of this year, and she was so demanding. It was overwhelming me. They're mostly, I'm alone. I have friends, but that's as far as it goes.
But no, let me ask you this,
gay
though.
bars or bathhouses. I'm not part of the gay community, but it's easier for me to be having dinner and conversation with my own sex or a woman that's not too demanding. So now I
wait, Mark. Let's not get too far off the
If you need a
topic.
label, I guess that's what I must embroider then.
Okay, but Mark, you say that Trump is a self-made man. He inherited $400 million from his dad.
Okay, but like a casino, you could lose the $400 million. He turned it over more than 20 times, or more than 100 times.
So he's self-made, but having inherited $400 million.
Yes, but it's like going to a casino with $1,000. You can walk out a loser or a winner. He could have lost all that he inherited. You must give him that.
Well, okay. He's okay. We can. I'll agree with you on that. Okay, that he could have lost it all.
Of course.
But you can't say that someone's self-made when they start off with $400 million.
Well, what would you call a man that inherited the money you say he did? I don't know the figure, and I won't argue the point.
Yeah.
And he had lost it and made wrong choices, so he'd be a loser. So let's just agree that he is a winner.
I will agree. Yes, he has amassed a lot of money right now. Again, I have to respect the way that someone's amassed their fortune. You know. Because you can say that who are these drug kingpins like name one. Well, this guy who's this guy that dug the tunnels? You know what I'm talking about in Mexico?
That what?
Okay. Well, like one of these like Carlos Lader. Or, one of these big cocaine smugglers. You can say they have a lot of money.
The drug lords.
Right, like a drug lord.
The Colombian, like that Escobar.
That's what I was looking for, one of those names, a common name that people would know. Yeah, so you can say, well, they've got a lot of money. Are they successful? Is that something you respect, that they have a lot of money?
No, that's criminal.
Right.
I don't subscribe. I've never even had a traffic violation. I have a clean record. I only have 2 divorces and 1 late wife, and too many children and grandchildren. But I don't look upon those ill-gotten gains like Hillary Clinton. No, I don't believe in ill-gotten gains is successful. No,
okay.
It's fraud.
Very good. But before we get into the whole Trump debate, I'd like to hear more about Mark Harris, because I think you're a fascinating character.
I grew up...
No, let me ask you a couple questions.
With a cerebral palsy brother.
How old are you now, Mark?
Now I was 66
You're 66 today.
And God has preserved me. I don't drink. Rarely, on an occasion or in flights, I'll have wine or champagne. But I don't know the last time I had a drink, to be perfectly honest. And I deal in nutrition, and I look very well. A black friend of mine in Brooklyn, when I had my 50th birthday, said to me, because it was a reunion for my high school, and I went there, and I saw everybody at 50, and I didn't recognize them. And I was at the height. I was born very good looking, thanks to God, and they couldn't believe it. And this black guy came over and he said, "Hey, I'm Ronnie, don't you remember me?" I said, "Oh, yes, I do, but what I remember is not quite what you look like now." He says, "You look better. You're not that very, very skinny, puny guy with black hair and blue eyes anymore. You got a nice, normal shape. You look great." He said, "You don't mind me telling you, you look like the youngest white man God ever created." And I never forgot that. I don't have a wrinkle in my body or my skin. My best friend, Barry, straight guy, considered a brother from age 14. He and I get together. Unfortunately, he's 2 weeks younger than I am. He's not doing too well, and he looked much older than I do, unfortunately.
Okay, Mark, let me ask you some questions. You're 66, right? Now, what made you move to Las Vegas from New York? And when did you?
I will tell you that.
Yeah.
Lost mortgage. My second wife, who we had a daughter with, I put her on the deed in good faith, and rather than making a will, so it transfers over to her. And I never thought the fact that we weren't married, that it would all go to our daughter. So, to make a long story short, in 2003, she was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And one night she told me she went to our joint account and she had me sign off the joint account because that was the only way they were going to hire her son that I brought up into Merrill Lynch. So I did that for her. And she said, won't you put my name on the house? So I did. I made a blunder. And when she was diagnosed with cancer a year later, she told me she mortgaged it for $3 million. I took her to court and I lost simply because we weren't married. Had we been married, I would have had to be notified that I never took out a mortgage. I had my own funds before Martha Ray. But she did that, and she invested in properties. The market broke down. She left her criminal son, who served jail time, all the money, and that's it. So that's what happened to Mark Harris. And Martha Ray told me to be wise, not as stupid as she was. Her manager ripped her off for $10 million in the 1950s at the peak of her career, having her own NBC. Long before there was Carol Burnett, Martha Ray is the number one woman of musical variety television, the number one Friar, which was a men's comedian club, for the first woman that got the Oscar, Jean Hersholt humanitarian Oscar for her allegiance and service in Vietnam, World War II, and Korea. And then, unfortunately, when she came off LAX with two servicemen, special forces, some of the public, it was the worst time in our history, except for now, they spit right in her face. And the special forces guy by law cannot strike the civilian. So she simply wiped the spit off her face and didn't say a word, and she left there. But that was at a low point of her life, and she was broke. And if not for Polident, which she made a few $1 million,
right,
she would have recouped it.
Okay, but my question was, Mark, is why did you move from New York to Las Vegas?
Okay, that's a good question. Deserves a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay, I was on my way out I had a slipped disc, and the pain was going down my sciatic nerve. I had a cab come, and I just put my coat on, and I was living in the East Village, and my friend Barry called, and he says, Marco, he calls me Marco, did you hear about the Boston bombing? I said, what are you talking about? And he says, put on the television right away. I know you're going to see the doctor for an epidural. Well, I put it on, and I saw this horrible terrorism, and I called my doctor, and I canceled the appointment, and I went back on the heating pad, and I did my thinking, and I said, I can't live here anymore. Can't take a subway. I don't feel safe. I know New York's a target. I may as well go back to Las Vegas. I could no longer afford to live in Los Angeles and the lifestyle I did, nor do I crave it, by the way. And 1991, when I produced Eddie Fisher and Al Martino, and it was held over, big success, Martha Ray entered my life, proposed marriage to me, and it goes on and on and on. Well, to make a long story short, we were soulmates. And I was her seventh and last husband, and she too was bisexual. And we cried together, we laughed together. I sang to her.
Mark, wait a second.
A wonderful time.
Wait a second, Mark. I'm asking you why you moved from New York to Las Vegas. And then,
Well,
wait,
in
hold on.
thinking-
And you laughed again.
In thinking that I could no longer live in Manhattan
because of the Boston bombing. You thought there'd be a
the
bombing.
bombings, a go deal in a subway. How many Xanax could get me back on a subway? Not enough, and I'm not addicted. So I was apprehensive, and I said, I got to get out of here. I went on Craigslist, and I said, Las Vegas was always very good to me, and I'm going to go back. And I got a picture of the room, and it looked beautiful. And the rent was only $450. I was paying $1,500 in New York for a bedroom.
Right.
So, and the cost of living was very expensive. So I moved in, had all my clothing and everything shipped. Make a long story short, they asked me, it was a gay couple, they asked me one question before I left, and they received my luggage. They said, Mark, we just want to understand one thing. We're a gay couple, and we are married 30 years, and we don't want to have to feel that you're coming in here and you're going to come on to one of us. I said, oh, believe me, I could promise you, just don't open my door at night, because I usually masturbate, and I like to do that in private. Well, had I seen them, I would have said, give me a contract. Where could I write it in blood? One was short and fatter than Lou Costello, with gross-looking tumors coming out of every part of his fat stomach and arms. The other one was tall and lanky, a TSA agent at Las Vegas McCarran Airport. It was like Mutt and Jeff. Oh, I mean, I don't judge people by their looks, but they asked me that I should never approach them. Are they crazy? Do they not own a mirror? Who would approach them?
Well, Mark,
They're safe.
are you still living with these people that you're insulting?
Oh, no. I found another place, and I'm living in a luxury building, secured, going over 2.5 years now, and has a pool and private security, and my roommate is 80 years old, in good health, and she's a fine, sweet, Christian, loving woman, and we get along. She says, I was married 5 times. You and I have never had an argument in all this time, and I keep telling my son, who was skeptical, due to 2 gay neighbors who since moved away, and she's legally blind. She cannot drive, and all the seniors can be taken advantage of. Well, these 2 gay guys were stealing money from her pocketbook, medicine of hers. She has to take Percocet because she has very bad back problems. I took her to the hospital the other day for epidurals, and now she has to go back in 2 weeks. But other than that, she's in fine health. And the gay guys called her son and said, Mark Harris is giving your mother Xanax. And he called me. It just so happens I found out not only was so much of my Xanax missing that the gay guys stole from me, they took her Percocet. She thought I was taking it. I don't take Percocet. So they moved out of here, and what happened, they always lied to her, saying they did not have a key to her apartment. And our apartment was not broken into, but yet our medicine kept going down and down and down. And the little skinny gay queen of the duo was a nasty guy, and he took a knife to my throat because Val was in the hospital, and he had to go over there and give her 10 Percocet. So he says, no, you give me the whole vial. You can trust me. I'll count to 10. I said, yes, I'll trust you to count out 10 as she's expecting, but I don't know that I'll get the rest. I'll put 10 in a baggie and you'll give it to her. And he took a knife to my throat. And this is this past April is when they moved. So then the other one came down because I called him. I said, Clay, I said, you have a key to this apartment. You've misrepresented. And if you do not come down here now and give me the key to the apartment, I'm going to call the police as your husband put a knife to my throat.
Okay,
and believe me, Mark, I am not misrepresenting. So he came down, he threw the key at me, and he said,
Mark.
the hell with you.
We're
I said,
to
hell with you as well.
Mark,
they moved,
we're getting a little off track. Mark, we're getting a little off track.
Whatever they are,
Mark,
they are.
Mark, can you hear me? We're getting a little off track. Okay, you're getting a little
Well,
up.
I gave you the bottom line. You asked me how I come to living in Las Vegas.
Right.
I had good luck in 1991 for a few years, and then married Martha Ray in 1991, and I figured, well, Vegas was always good for me, and now it is again.
No, let me just ask a quick question, right? Which means like a short answer. Now, are you still living with this woman now, with the son that pulled a knife on you?
Yes.
You're still living
yes,
okay,
yes.
Okay, good.
We have 2 bedrooms with full baths. She has the one with the jacuzzi, big living room, dining room, and it's a beautiful building. Really.
Yeah, well, you can get good deals living here in Vegas. I live in Henderson myself, and we live in an apartment, me and my daughter, and you can really live very nicely out here for very little money. And the weather's nice. There's a lot of entertainment. There's a lot of fun stuff going on. Now,
right.
Now, one of the things, Mark, we were talking about off the air is that, and not even the song that I think that made you famous, is that I am a gay papa, right? You don't have a copy of that a song up on your own YouTube channel, and you've written all these other songs. I have a clip of one here that we're going to play in a minute. You write and you perform these political jingles, these little tunes.
Yes. Political satire like Mark Russell, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I remember Mark Russell. Yeah, you would be a good Mark Russell type. Now, the thing is, though, is that you have no way to create your own YouTube channel and get an AdSense account and upload these things onto YouTube.
If I was tech savvy, but I'm not.
Right, and I was explaining to you earlier that the way I do my show here and I upload to YouTube, it's through this tool I use called Spreaker. But maybe there's a listener out there who would want to volunteer for Mark Harris and help him out to get these his MP3s up on YouTube. It would be a fun project for you. I know we have a lot of YouTube people who listen to our show. So if you're out there and you want to help out Mark Harris, get a hold of me.
Give them my email address, Berlin Amour, BerlinAmour @AOL.com.
There you go. Okay, and otherwise you can get a hold of me and I'll put you in touch with Mark. I might want to screen him out for you a little bit, Mark. Okay, make sure you don't get a knife.
Well, you're an investigator. I'm just a creative cook, and I studied opera as a teenager. I officially am still a baritone, and I sing big Broadway tunes, but the tune like you're going to play now is very comedic. As my late wife Martha said, Mark, if you want to make people laugh, just deal in truth. Total truth, nothing's funnier. So every word of the song you're going to play is 100% truth.
Hey, you know what, Mark? You do have a good voice. You still have a very good, strong voice. And I was expecting to hear like an old Mark Harris, but you're still very young and vibrant. When was the last time you've been on the Howard Stern Show?
7 years ago.
Really? Now, what do you think about all these people now been coming out lately, like Artie Lang and Bob Levy? I've been on Bob Levy's show.
Coming out for what? Being gay?
No, they're not coming out being gay, but they're coming out
for what?
And they're saying that the old Howard Stern is a different guy from the current Howard Stern, and that he's lost his edge. He's not as funny as he used to be. He doesn't.
You mean he gave up on the shock jocks thing?
Yeah.
Well, would you like to hear? And it's pure truth. You'll laugh. I was in New York in 1992, and it was January, end of January, before my birthday, February 1, and I taped a Phil Donahue show.
Okay.
And he put me up at the Plaza Hotel, and after the taping, I got a lot of applause from the audience, and they realized, indeed, I was not a gigolo. So I went to my room at the Plaza, and the phone was ringing, and I pick it up. Hello, Mark Harris? I said, yes, this is Howard Stern. Now, I have a first cousin who would be 94 if he's alive. His name is Harold Stern. So I didn't hear the Howard part. I said, Harold, how did you know I was here? How did you know I was in New York? He says, I said, Howard, not Harold. Don't you know who I am, Howard Stern? I'm the greatest DJ on radio. I left New York in 1981 after my divorce of 13 years. So I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't. So he says, well, you're doing all this print copy, and you're doing all these magazine shows and interviews, and you're constantly in USA Today and People magazine. Why don't you consider doing a radio interview? I'll pay you $3,000. So, and I did, and I went there at 6:30 in the morning in this swivel chair, turning around, seeing this very pretty black woman constantly cackling like a chicken, cackling. Nothing was funny, in my opinion, and looking at Howard Stern was a throwback to the generation I was from, with LSD, long hair, guitars, and I hated it, and I sang official Broadway music. I used to go on before and after Bette Midler and Barry Manilow. Got a full life. So I looked at him, and then he suddenly introduced me and said, "Okay, Mark, how was it?" Now, I never miss a question in my life. I'm not feeble. I said, how was it? How was what? And he says, the blowjob. You're married to the big mouth. And I said, look, Stern, you got me up 6:30 in the morning to this show. I got to catch my flight at 9 to do a dick show. Look, we're probably both Jewish and both from Brooklyn, so I'm older and better looking than you, but I'm a lot smarter. You continue to say stuff like that about my wife, and I'll talk about your mother. And with that, he put a spit on his finger and raised and said, oh, that's one for Harris. And I diffused him, and I told him verbatim everything on the up and up. And she stopped cackling.
But they paid you $3,000 for that first appearance?
They did. And not only that, when I left the studio and I thought I was not going to make the plane, he came after me, went to commercial, grabbed me on my shoulder. He says, Harris, wait a minute. Before you go, you must stay over one more night. I'll pay you $7,000. I said, how could somebody like you have a TV show, indeed, when you're so awful on radio? Our country hasn't come to this immorality like you are promoting. So he says to me, no, seriously, it's for the homeless. So I knew Martha was a very charitable and giving person. She would understand. So I said, and you're going to pay me $7,000. He said, yes, we're going to play Hollywood Squares. The limo would pick you up. I'll pick up the night for the Plaza and limo you to JFK. Just call Martha and tell her. I called Martha, and she says, Mark, I know you don't lie to me. Are you sure you're going to get it for the homeless, and you're going to stay? You're going to be home on tomorrow's morning flight because I miss you. I said, I promise you. So with that, I went on this, it used to be the old Joe Franklin show, time slot of WOR in Secaucus, New Jersey. And I met Gene Rayburn, J.P. Morgan, and I sat in a square, and there were two lesbians soul-kissing next to me, and they brought in people off the street asking them stupid questions. The center square was a KKK wizard named Carver, and there was a black Muslim woman with a turban around her head. Well, it got to the point where they started saying, Carver said, Hitler didn't get enough. We got to still burn Jewish babies. And I got out of my square, stepped right out, said, Stern, you big schmuck. You have two young Jewish daughters and a third on the way, and you allow this hate speech. Would you like your daughters to be put in the ovens first? Are you promoting Hitler's rhetoric? Is that what this is about? I'll be no part of it. And I walked out, and they couldn't get me back. I didn't care about the $7,000. And a reporter came running after me, and Howard, and they brought this black woman, and they brought this Carver to me. He says, look, guys, calm down. Let's finish the show. We'll calm down on the rhetoric. Harris is right. It was a stupid remark. I never should have allowed it. So why don't you just all shake hands? And with that, I go with my instinct. I was wearing a beautiful custom-made green leather jacket that I still have, and I picked it up to the camera and said, kiss my ass. And I left. The limo took me back to Plaza, picked me up in the morning. I got home. Martha was in the military den smoking, and she says, I want to talk to you. They've always called me the big mouth, and I could never do an interview. But you have a big mouth. I saw those introductions on this Howard Stern freak show that's coming on Saturday night, and you picked up your jacket and said, kiss my ass. I heard it. I saw it. What was that about? And then when I told her, because she crossed over in World War II with Eisenhower into Berlin to liberate the people. So she says, well, good for you. Now I understand it, but we're going to watch that show. You walked off camera. You were very brave. you'll never get the 7,000. I said, I don't care.
So you never got the 7,000.
Worth my morality and what I stand for. So come Saturday night, we watched it, and she says, you did the right thing, honey. I respect you as well as you are the only husband that I've ever had respect for and loved, and you didn't take $1 from me. But I'd like you to answer one question. Who paid for that Rolls Royce of yours? I said, Martha, I did. I had a very big business in New York's garments industry. I used to have my own textile firm. It's mine. I own it free and clear. She says, well, you want me to believe that? I said, did I ever lie to you? So she says no, and that would be a fantastic story for you to cover up that you went to bed with some lady and she bought you the Rolls Royce.
Mark,
we had laughs.
Okay, Mark, hold on, Mark. Are you there? Okay.
And I
wait, Mark.
Being invited back to Howard.
Okay, you kept getting invited back to Howard. You never got the 7,000.
I did.
You got
in the mail. To both our amazement, Joseph, mine, I got the $7,000 check.
Okay, now what about for subsequent appearances? He never paid you for those, right?
No, he never paid me again on my radio appearances. No.
Now, were you able to generate any money though from your appearances on Howard Stern?
Say that again?
Were you able to generate any money on your own by your appearances there?
Yes, I, in the past, had a very big website, and I produced 4 CDs, one after 2011 saying Let Them Eat Pork about the Muslims, very funny song. One, which I have my only copy, I Believe, title song and name of the album of faith, A Walk with God and stuff like that. And then I don't remember the others. One beautiful big band salute. I have a very big voice, big range, and a patriotic God Bless America that I just did for Donald Trump. I did a Trump CD, and we're going to talk tomorrow about whether he's going to buy it and put it on his website or give them out as freebies to be more intimate with the public and show a lighter side.
Okay.
Now, he knows I'm gay, and he's most tolerant, so all that liberal propaganda about being anti-gay, and somebody said to me, pedophilia. I said, what are they, crazy? What kind of rumors are they spreading?
Well,
it's so stupid.
Okay, one thing at a time. Now, how do you know Donald Trump?
Well, I remember clearly I did 300 Stern appearances, and on one of them, Donald Trump called in and spoke to Howard personally and said, and by the way, Mark Harris, every time you're on, you're my favorite guest. So in that respect, I remembered, and I did find him to be the future. We need a leader, not a politician, and he's as strong and determined and a non-quit, non-stop, like FDR, Truman, Kennedy, Johnson, even Nixon, who were concerned about we the people and guard us with safety. This could have never happened, like Obama giving out when we're retreating and this and that, which is he gave birth to ISIS, all that. Bush is wrong for putting boots on the ground. He should have done what Reagan did to Libya.
Wait. Let's move back for a second. How do you know Donald Trump? He called into the Stern Show one time, but how do you know him now?
Okay, so I had a few ideas. I'm more than a pretty face.
Okay.
And I called Donald Trump's office, and I spoke to his number one campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski, who knew who I was from Howard Stern's Stern Show and how much he enjoyed me, the humor and the singing. And he said, what do you have in mind? And I told him, which I cannot share with the public, but it's a solution to how, when he becomes president, he can, without Congress and without a vote, with one simple signature, get rid of all the illegals, the criminals, and the refugees Obama bringing in from Syria are not the Christians who were being tortured, raped, or stoned, only the Muslims. That's too reminiscent of Hitler's getting rid of the Jews. I don't understand Obama, why he won't let the Christian Muslims in.
Okay, wait. Let's not get too far off. Okay, because so now you contacted Trump's campaign headquarters just recently in the past week or two.
And he wrote me a letter.
Okay.
I gave them an idea, and he said, Trump says you're right on the money, and Trump wants me to give you his personal regards as he holds you in high esteem. Well, when he got this message from me on how he can get rid of the illegals by being president legally, under my advisement, he said, only you thought of it. I'm ashamed I didn't. They'll run like flies. I won't be able to catch up with them. We won't have to deport them. I said, no, not if you do as I instructed. So they have that in secrecy. And
so you have a secret plan to rid this country of illegal aliens?
A legal plan.
A legal plan?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can't reveal it. I did to them an email which proves that I gave them the advice, and they looked it up, and it's 100% legal. You're right, Mark. I'm just so sorry that I didn't think about it.
Okay, that's very interesting. Now, but you don't hear Trump mention this, at his appearances.
No, I warned them. I'm giving you this idea, and it will work 100% to your benefit, but you must not campaign on this idea. And he understood why.
So now, are you expecting like a cabinet position if Trump were to be elected?
I would like to be America's first appointed ambassador for tolerance, be it for the gay community, the black people, the legal Spanish people, all Americans that are down at their luck, write to me, and I'll do my best to help you through it, because I had very rough times that I came through in my life. So nurturing a cerebral palsy brother 7 years older than myself, having to put him away when my mother fell ill, and that was the cause of my divorce, and I nursed her for 3 years, took her leg off, and I was down and out, but I did the right thing. I could live with myself. And my second wife and I had a good marriage, but obviously stealing $3 million of me, I didn't wish her the cancer, but God gets back one way or the other.
Oh, okay.
And
we only have a little bit of time left. We only have like 25 minutes left. So let's try and get some, because I know you want to be here to represent Trump, right?
Yes, I do.
Now, last night when we were discussing, I mentioned to you, because you had mentioned before about how people make this accusation about pedophilia, right? Now,
yes.
Now you're against convicted sex offenders and pedophiles, correct?
100%. It's disgusting.
So, and do you think that? Now, what if I would say to you, no, they're great. They're great people. Would you be mad at me? Would you hate me for that?
I wouldn't want to associate with a person that has friends that have touched young boys or girls, if that's what you're asking.
That's exactly what I'm asking you, Mark.
I would not sit down to dinner with you.
Then how do you feel about Donald Trump's friendship with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
My knowledge is not of Trump's affiliation, but rather Bill Clinton's affiliation, lying to the FBI, and the FBI called him out because they got his name on the manifest, proved he was on the island, and now they're looking to find the young girls that he might have had sex with him, and he will be the first president to be convicted as a pedophilia or child molester if they find the girl who's probably being paid off. John Epstein has to be the biggest scum of the world for what
that's Jeffrey Epstein. And I'll let you know a little secret that Jeffrey Epstein, his girlfriend, partner, who was procuring these young girls for him, is a woman named
girls. Yes.
Yeah, it was young, 13, 14-year-old girls. You can read the probable cause affidavit. It's online. You can find it. And the woman, his partner and his friend, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was finding these young girls for him, actually, after Epstein was convicted, this woman, Ghislaine Maxwell, attended Chelsea Clinton's wedding. So
as did Donald Trump.
No, I don't know if Donald Trump attended Chelsea Clinton's wedding. I don't think he did.
Well, Chelsea Clinton is very close to Ivanka, who became Jewish, marrying Mr. Kushner, and converted to Judaism, which proves Trump is tolerant. He's having his third Jewish grandchild this year, and I wish him the best of health and the best of luck. But I don't know that Trump ever did what Clinton did, flying down with Epstein to that island and all that. So if he might have had a business dealing, because it's known Epstein is such a wealthy man, this is possible. I don't know.
Okay,
I have no answer.
I can give you the quote. Okay, the quote from Trump about Epstein is that he's a terrific guy. The rumor is that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, many of them on the younger side. Jeffrey enjoys his social life, no doubt about that. And this was at a time.
You're not claiming that Trump ever practiced pedophilia or was involved with him on such an awful thing.
No, but I originally asked you, how would you feel about somebody who was friends with a pedophile, a convicted pedophile, and excused their acts?
I answered you, I don't believe Donald Trump was a friend of Epstein, but I would be the first to believe he had business dealings with him because he was a multimillionaire himself, and millionaires cross over for investment purposes.
Okay, let me.
I would believe they don't go to their islands like Clinton did.
Okay, now a couple of things here. Okay, let's explore this. The exact quote is, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life." So that doesn't sound like a business relationship. That sounds like a personal, social, fun guy.
Well, it sounds like, first of all, a reporter asking him a question about Epstein. No,
yes,
where
it is,
did the source come from?
It comes from Vicky Ward from New Yorker Magazine,
and she asked this question of Trump.
Right.
So I would imagine Trump was trying to be as gentle about it because he had Epstein's business money involved with his and didn't separate. But I am sure, as we're speaking now, Donald Trump has nothing to do with Epstein.
Okay, but we know he made that statement. Okay, now another connection is that Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort down there in Palm Beach. Jeffrey Epstein has his mansion down in Palm Beach. Now, in the probable cause affidavit, the police described going to Epstein's home down there in Palm Beach and seeing framed pictures of naked 15, 14-year-old girls on the walls of his home, decorating his home. Okay, which is child pornography. Now,
that's
Epstein,
of course child pornography.
Right.
It's disgusting.
Right. Now, Epstein...
He doesn't have that home anymore, I doubt.
No, he does. He does. He got off with very little charges, Mark.
Then why does he have his own island and lives there?
Well, no. He gives that as... He's still in Manhattan. You see him walking around in Manhattan with Woody Allen, Epstein.
Another sicko.
Yes, that's right. Now, again... One of the allegations from this victim, Virginia Roberts. Now, you can see pictures of her because it's in the probable cause affidavit, too. It's in the court proceedings where she's a little 13-year-old kid. She's a little kid, Mark, and she was being groomed and abused by this guy, Epstein. Epstein met her.
It makes me want to vomit what you're saying. I don't conceive this. I don't conceive bestiality or anything. God almighty.
Now, the way that Epstein got his hands on this kid, Virginia Roberts, is that she worked at Mar-a-Lago at 14, 15 years old. Her father works there as a maintenance supervisor. And this girl, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was at the Chelsea Clinton wedding, procured her from this. She met this girl at the women's locker room over there at the Trump Mar-a-Lago Plaza, Mar-a-Lago Resort. And that's how Epstein got his mitts on this little child. So
but
there's that connection.
That would not extend to you suggesting or insinuating that Trump made her available to him or procured this young child for him. I wouldn't believe that.
No, the allegation is that Ghislaine Maxwell procured the child working for Trump. But then there's a third connection, okay, in that Prince Andrew. We have pictures of this young kid with Prince Andrew when she was 17 years old. We have that picture. Ghislaine Maxwell's in the picture. Prince Andrew's in the picture. And Prince Andrew and Epstein would party and spend extensive time at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's property down there at Palm Beach. So there's significant connections, and it's not business connections, Mark. It's social connections.
The only thing regarding Prince Andrew, to my way of innuendo or rumor, he was found aboard an English vessel after his divorce with Ferguson, or Fergie, whatever you call her, that he was having sex with another sailor. and that he was gay. So, I mean, that's rumored or innuendo. I have no idea. So I'm surprised to hear that he engaged in that kind of thing. I don't know,
Well, there is, there's testimony, in litigation. All of these victims of Epstein, they've all won lawsuits against him. He's settled them all, with like 30 of them.
Well, Clinton has yet to take the stand on this. The FBI is prosecuting him.
Well, I don't know anything about that. It seems to me that the Clintons gotten away with it.
But Bill Clinton lied to the FBI until they pulled the manifest and proved everybody has to be registered commercial or private aircraft, and there was his name a few times. So he lied. He said he was never on his plane or the island. So he perjured himself.
Okay, I would agree with you that Clinton and others are up to their neck in this as well. And I don't support Clinton for president. I don't support him for anything. I don't like Clinton whatsoever. But my issue is Trump's describing this man as a terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. He enjoys girls that are on the younger side. All that kind of stuff I find extremely disturbing. But you can look at that and have no problem with that.
You mean if I read that in the magazine article, I take your word for it. I don't think you would be making this up because it's libelous, and
yeah, right.
I'm sure you're aware of that. So I guess when Trump hears our interview, and he welcomed me to being part of Team Trump, and I campaigned for him day and night and just did a Trump CD. If he wants to address it, it's none of my business personally. It doesn't stop me or waver me in believing what's best for our future as a country to make it the United States of America again instead of the divided States of America. I have nothing but strong belief and hope in Donald Trump, and that's not for money or prizes. I believe in him.
Okay. And you're correct, Mark. I would definitely not come on the air and make something up and say something that's libelous.
No,
or that couldn't be sourced.
Libelous.
And just so you understand, Mark, I'm death penalty qualified. I'm qualified to testify in death penalty trials. And I was involved in 2 congressional investigations and 2 congressional hearings. So, I'm not a guy who's fast and loose with the facts. I like to joke around. Okay? I'm a fun guy. Okay?
Yeah. I read your bio. Yeah. Most impressive.
Thank you. And I have my own associations with Trump. You might laugh. It's kind of a funny coincidence, but when he got caught cheating with Marla Maples, by coincidence, Marla Maples was hiding out at my friend's apartment. Okay, she went there to hide out with some friends of mine. So I have, listen, it is what it is. But now, so that issue, aside from that issue, which I find very disturbing, okay, and I from the tone of your voice, I kind of get the impression that you would agree that it is disturbing, okay?
It's disturbing, but I guess he answered and replied in the most gracious and rather than obnoxious way that he could have. So he stayed above the fray with his answer because he knew he was not partaking in this dirty behavior.
Okay, just to be clear, Trump gave that statement at a time before Epstein was convicted, okay? But
I didn't know that.
Right, but they were...
So was he called upon to testify for what he said?
Well, actually, you know what? There's a lot of press conferences with Trump right now, right? And do you ever hear anybody ask him this question?
No. My question to you, and you would know the answer. He gave the statement. It was published, and I take it at faith, good faith, you're saying the truth. If so, was he ever called in a court of law or subpoenaed to show up for what his remark was?
No, because
Why?
Because this was all settled out of court. Epstein settled his case. He got 13 months, Mark, for molesting up to 30 kids.
But why wasn't Donald Trump called as witness when he gave it and verbatim to a reporter? Why was he not called before a court of law?
Because there was no trial. He plea bargained, and he got a plea bargain deal.
Oh. Wow.
Now,
let me ask you, do you imagine that Donald Trump who certainly is not doing this for ego. He was worth enough money. He could have had a great life. He has many children, grandchildren, God bless him. He's doing this out of patriotism. He's doing this because of his ability and his foresight, and he alone will take the country and make it moderate and united again and will benefit all from it. Is he not worth one American vote? I predict he'll win by a landslide like Reagan before him.
I'm concerned he may win too as well. But now I have a couple of questions for you, okay? Because now you say that he only wants the best for the American people. Now,
yes.
But do you think that let's look at his past and examples. Do you think he had the best in mind for the people who were the students of his now shut down Trump University? People who were. Some of these people, one of these people were making like $8,000 a year. One of these investors, and people who thought that they were signing up for a university, and it turns out that it was unlicensed, and the state, the Attorney General of the state of New York had to shut it down because it was operating illegally as a fraud.
Okay, I could answer you if you allow me.
Okay.
First of all, when I was a young child growing up in America, very close to both parents, but my father instilled everything in me, I grew up with the name Sue as a girl's name. Now it's become a way of making a living. Everybody sues. So Trump was target. I believe Trump was taken in by the university. He didn't blatantly need or con somebody out of their pocket change to him when he was worth so much. He's the only one president in history that's forfeiting his salary to help bring back the deficit. Alcohol.
Well, you're breaking up.
Fund hate him because they're going to pay high taxes. He's on the right road. He knows what we need. I also can predict that he will be the first president that will make peace with Palestine in unison with Egypt because I want to advise him on how he could do that. The West Bank, which Israel gave up for peace, they're at raging war with right now, will be taken by force and be folded into the state of Israel as it belongs to Israel.
Mark, but we're talking about the question first of honesty and integrity, right? And now first we got this shady issue with Epstein. All right, and now we have this issue.
But it's not as shady when he was never on his plane or didn't go to the island. He didn't commit a sin.
Right. But he is friends with the guy, and he did say the guy's a great guy. He enjoys younger women. That kind of
doubt
stuff.
very much if he would be friendly with him as this conversation. There's no way he would be foolish enough.
But we have that issue, okay, which we both find distasteful. Then we have this issue now, this current issue right now, where his Trump University, which was created by Trump, I don't think he denies that, was shut down by New York State.
Are you telling me a man that delegates, as he does, created a university without employing people to do so? That's not believable to me. He did not personally put his hands on it. He hired people, they put together the Trump University, and people are greedy, and they wanted money, and that's who ripped these people off. But in our country, and I lost a lot of money in the stock market over my lifetime, more than I'd like to admit to. It is up to the investor or the purchaser or the believer in a foundation to do his due diligence. It is not incumbent upon the fraud might be perpetrated. It's up to you, the investor. These people that gave money to the university did not do their due diligence.
Oh,
that doesn't mean I'm happy that they're out of money. Believe me, I'm not.
Okay.
But I don't believe Trump took a penny from their pockets, as I do somebody scammed from the team he put together.
Okay, so the victims of the scam were just it's their own worst enemy. It's their fault, really, because they didn't do their due diligence. And also, too, this was going on without Trump's knowledge.
Would be correct.
Trump hired people, and they just did all this stuff, and he had no knowledge of it. And he wasn't
Oh,
endorsed.
I do believe that. I believe
okay.
he had no knowledge. He's the number one target, like a bullseye on your back. He's a rich man, and these people that he hired, I'm sure, paid well, and they put together this university, had a fraud committed upon these people without Trump's knowledge. I would absolutely 100% subscribe to that theory.
In your opinion, your theory is that Trump was duped. And people took advantage of Trump and his goodwill and his good generosity. He wanted to put together a real university, but he was scammed by these evildoers.
I believe that.
Okay, well then what? Then how do we trust him to be president? Come on, Mark. He can't run his business because he's too stupid. People are taking advantage of him. You want him to be president of the United States?
He'll find another Patton. He'll find another MacArthur.
Let me ask you a question.
He will put together a great cabinet.
Mark, Epstein's diddling little kids right under Trump's nose. He doesn't see it. Trump's employees are setting up fake.
It was not under his nose. He didn't do it in his home in Trump's
But he's not a very good judge of character because he thought he was a
Clinton's
great guy.
nose, yes.
Then he hires these guys. They set up a fake college and start ripping people off right under his nose. He's too stupid to see that either. That's what you're saying?
No, he's not too stupid. He's so fanned out in his ownership, investment, realty, apprentice, and whatnot that it was completely, he got hands off there.
Let me ask you another question, Mark.
Fraudulent people took advantage of people using the name of Trump. There's a hotel here in Las Vegas, a casino, Trump.
Right.
It's only a licensed name. He gets a license fee. You don't know that Trump was part of this university.
No, we do know. The documents,
Trump.
The New York State Attorney General documents are available online. You can read the complaint yourself. They think that Trump is a thief.
He owned and founded the university rather than licensed his Trump name?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, these were Trump salesmen, Trump telemarketers, calling people up trying to get more money out of their pockets. There's no doubt about that. Now, but let me ask you another question.
They did a good job.
When we first started this interview, the first thing I asked you about, I said, Mark Harris, who is Mark Harris? Tell me about yourself. And I like it, Mark. Okay, you know I like it. The first thing...
That's better than you writing me last night. You felt fine before chatting with me. Now you're going to have a heart attack.
I know, because listen, Mark, I gotta hold your feet to the fire.
Good night and take a baby aspirin.
I gotta hold your feet to the fire, Mark. The first thing, when I asked who is Mark Harris, Mark, the first thing you started talking about, and just like everybody else, every other grown man, the first thing we start talking about is our dad. Our father. My father was born in Germany. My father, right away, right? I
loved him.
Right, I'm sure he did. Of course, man. God bless him. And then you mentioned about how Sid Fields, he knew Mr. Fields from Abbott and Costello. He was related to him. That's the coolest thing in the world.
Yes, that's his first cousin.
Coolest thing in the world. I always...
Do you know who Molly Pecan was? Google her. That was his aunt.
I'll have to check that out because I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. I do.
Molly Pecan was in Fiddler on the Roof, character Fruma Sarah, the matchmaker. But you just Google Molly Pecan.
Okay, but
she was married to a Bliefeld. I was born Mark Harris Bliefeld.
So would you say that your dad,
at age 24?
Would you say that your dad has been a huge influence in your life?
A major influence, and I'll give you 1 point.
Okay.
My father was not an educated man, but very streetwise and protective of his family. My mother was an extremely special student. Without her, I wouldn't have graduated with an academic diploma because I couldn't get through algebra. She knew algebra. She got me through. She was passive. My father was dominant. When I came home from 6th grade assembly, smiling, 2 blocks walk, my father waiting for me on the stoop. He said, "My son, what are you so happy about? What are you smiling about?" I said, "Didn't you see we went to the moon today?" And this is before John Glenn. It was just a mission. And we landed on the moon. And he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Son, this is nothing to be happy about. The day we penetrated God's atmosphere, you do not know the schmutz," that's the word for German or Jewish dirt, "that came down here, particles that don't belong here. I don't have long to live." He died at 56 on his 11th heart attack. And he said, "But in your lifetime, you will have uncurable viruses and worse. I said, I didn't want to tell him I didn't know what a virus was. So my mother came home and I asked her, what is a virus? She says, it's what starts cancer. Like our neighbor Shirley, a double mastectomy, is going to die soon. It all starts with a virus. So when my mother took ill and I was taking care of it, and she knew of my bisexual life with the guy at that time from.
Oh, wait, Mark, we're getting off.
She said to me, "Your father, we should have listened more to. Now there's homosexual cancer. That's before they named it AIDS. He told you when we went up to God's atmosphere, what particles came down does not belong here, and we're going to pay a price." And that is what I believe.
Okay, Mark. Now you that was like 40 years ago, right?
Yes.
But you remember it, and you can quote your dad like it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I was 12 years old when he told me that.
Then let me ask you this, again, back to Mr. Trump. Okay? Now, we know that Mr. Trump has these opinions about immigration and nativism. And then
I gave him the solution in email, and I'm grateful for my father.
But my point is,
I dream a lot. I dream about Martha Ray.
The question I'm trying to ask you, Mark.
They were born on the same day and year. He loved her. I loved Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, I did a great show on Marilyn Monroe. You'll love it.
Based on my father's input to me, I shared it with Trump, and he said, "You're 100% right. That's the answer."
Okay, we now know that Trump's dad was arrested in 1921, according to the New York Times, in a brawl.
It's not fair to deal in one's family.
Listen to me. At a KKK rally, that Trump's dad, Fred Trump, was part of the KKK, fought with the police. There was $1,000 bail money he had to put up. Now, let me ask you this. Now, there was a flyer that they quoted in the New York Times, and at the time that was the paper of record, right? If you read it in the Times, it was right.
Yes.
And the wording, the tone of that KKK flyer is the exact kind of nativism that Trump describes when he's running for president and he's on the stump there right now. Now, you agree that your dad's a great influence in your life. He's framed your opinions. He's framed your attitude. You honor your father. Trump, I'm sure, is the same way. And now he's practically quoting from a KKK flyer of 1921 on the campaign stump. What do you make of that?
What is he saying about 1921? I didn't understand. What is he repeating?
Well, the same, the same
Making
nativist.
America great again?
No. The same nativist philosophy that Mexicans coming to this country are rapists. Okay?
They do. Look at Kate's law that they're not signing into law yet.
Okay, so you're of the opinion.
Disgusting.
You're of the opinion that Mexicans that come to this country are rapists.
Illegally.
Oh, only the illegal ones are rapists.
No, I'm sure you'll find legal ones, but I'm not searching in any category. I don't travel in those circles. But I know the illegal ones deal in drugs and everything, and drugs make you do crazy things. Like this Hernandez that got convicted for life, he was high on, I think they call it PCP, if I stand corrected, I do. But I watched last night's documentary. The illegals traffic drugs, yes.
Okay. But you know what? I would think that Trump would have a more favor with the American public if he were to complain about the Mexicans cutting in line at Disneyland, because everybody hates that.
No. Next thing you'll be telling me is that McDonald's should go vegetarian.
Yeah, okay.
No, let me make a confession about my family.
Okay.
I'll make two confessions, and if I'm to be judged on it, so be it. My late mother and father worked for Carlo Gambino. I grew up with a Gambino family. His late grandson died in a plane crash. I got via email. I was crushed. We were very close, Jackie Gambino. And I said that on one of Stern's appearances. Jackie was listening, and Baba Booey came in. Did you hear what Harris just said? He mentioned one of the biggest crime families his family worked for. They didn't kill anybody. There was no drive-by shootings. They didn't take drugs or deal in drugs. And one other thing I was informed as a teenager by my mother, I was born Blefeld. There's a book out, Kidnapped, not the one by Robert Louis Stevenson, about the Lindbergh baby kidnapping. My father had an uncle that the family was divided when his father died. My father was age 4. And Harry Bliefeld was an older man in an exclusive mansion on Voorhees Avenue in Brooklyn. His son was a gangster, changed his name to John Taylor, and he hid the baby in my relative's basement. He was a feeble old man, didn't know about it. They got rid of the baby. They didn't kill the baby. They did it for money for whoever it was. It was not Hauptner that took Lindbergh's baby.
The Lindbergh baby?
But, right. My relative hid the baby in his father's home without his father's knowledge.
Wait a
Father
second, Mark.
was
Has
in his
this been
80s,
documented
attended by
anywhere?
nurses.
Is this is a story that's handed down in your family, or it's been documented somewhere?
No, you could read the book, go to the library, called Kidnapped.
Okay.
Not the Kidnapped by Robert Louis Stevenson. There's Kidnapped, and in the last few chapters, it speaks of Harry Bliefeld. My father's name, his brother, was Harris Bliefeld. I was born Mark Harris Bliefeld because my mother would not name me Harris. So I later changed it. But when I found this out, even though I knew they were strained and nobody had contact, what an awful, awful thing. And
Yeah, that's very interesting.
No knowledge of it.
It's interesting how it's a small world, and there's so many different connections.
But am I to be judged because a strange, distant relative whom my father never knew and I never knew hid the Lindbergh baby in the house? You can read about it in the book Kidnapped. I'm ashamed of it.
But Mark,
I'm not part of it.
If you were to go up on a stage and announce your presidential candidacy and say, and by the way, a great way to make money is kidnapping babies, okay? Just like
That's a ridiculous statement.
Okay. Just like
That's a ridiculous thing. I don't subscribe to kidnappers or drive-by shootings.
I understand, Mark, but you're missing my point. I'm saying that when Trump announced his presidency, he quoted the same sentiment, the same tone, the same philosophy as his dad's KKK flyer. If you were to announce for presidency and say, hey, and by the way, a great way to make money is kidnapping babies, quoting, your great-grandfather there, then I'd have a problem with you, Mark. Okay? But listen, Mark Harris.
Why would I, first of all, want the job? If Trump wants it and can do it, I wish to be involved in helping people, but not to be president of the United States of America.
Listen, Mark, you'll come back on the show, right?
Yes, I surely will. And are you going to play that song?
Yes,
so
we are. We went over time.
Laughter is the best form for curing what ails you.
We've gone over time. And also, too, now, do you have an MP3 of that I'm a Gay Papa song or no?
Yes, I did. I received it from you, and I asked Howard for it many times. He wouldn't give it to me. He considers it a classic. But in April of 2016, I'm coming out with a very beautiful love album that's never been done, and I'm going to include that with many sentimental songs.
Now, Mark, don't you have some items for sale up on Amazon right now?
Oh, yes, my Republican Hit Parade is the #1 best-selling political satire CD. You cannot stop laughing, and I know you're going to play the last song, which is my favorite, Based on Truth, and we don't have time enough to go in with my skirmishes with Bill Clinton. He wrote me, if he became president, that he would be glad to bestow the Medal of Freedom on my wife.
Yeah, that's
Martha
right.
Ray.
I remember that, yeah.
He reneged.
Yeah.
He reneged. My life was threatened, and I was called by the CIA and the FBI before I would make the red eye to Howard Stern and telling them, Mark, we're on your side, but we have to let you know Bill Clinton monitors Howard Stern and you, and if anything is interpreted by a threat, you will be put in jail. So when I told Howard Stern when he welcomed me that morning, what's up, Harris? There's always something in your life. I said, would you believe I got a call before making the flight from the FBI and the CIA? I cannot mention their names, but they warned me if anything I say can be interpreted as a threat, Bill Clinton wants me picked up and put in jail. So Howard says, so what do you have to say for yourself? So I leaned forward to the mic and I said, Bill and all your operatives who are listening and monitoring my every word in Howard Stern show, I advise you and Hillary both to go buy X-Lax, take an overdose and get the runs until you both run out of the White House. When I got home, I got calls from the FBI. They said, brilliant. Nobody could be picked up for diarrhea.
Okay. Well, I guess that's how we're going to end our show. Mark, listen, I really appreciate you coming on. You're a funny guy, that's for sure. I'd say, and a colorful guy. Do you still hang out with these old-time Hollywood celebrities and stuff like that, like you used to?
The only one that's living I spoke to last week and sent her my Republican hit parade is Rosemary. You might remember her from the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah.
Everybody else, unfortunately, is gone. I was extremely close to Cesar Romero, who died before Martha Ray. And I would cook. I'm a gourmet cook. I'm cooking since age 5. Italian, French, German, Hungarian food, all that stuff. Bread from scratch, no bread maker. Danish is everything. So I made a cauliflower soup at one of our events because if Martha sneezed, I had a party of all Bob Hope, Chuck Heston, Dottie L'Amour. Everybody's gone now. And Jimmy Stewart. I have all the pictures. And so Caesar called me one day. He says, Mark, I'm having a flu and I need some hot chicken soup, or better yet, would you make me that cream of cauliflower that I had at your house? I said, I certainly will. I made him a 3-gallon pot that I put in gallon jugs, and I took it over and we spent a few hours, and we spoke about homosexuality. We spoke about Hollywood of yesteryear. He said we were a community. We dare not speak a 4-letter word. We dare not speak about our gay. I never had a woman in my life. I come from an affluent Cuban background, born in Manhattan. My father had a rich tobacco plant, and I dated debutantes and all that. He said, but the love of my life is right over there. And I looked over, and it was a beautiful picture of Tyrone Power. He said, Ty was the love of my life, although Carmen Miranda wanted to marry me even though I couldn't have sex with her. I said, my God.
So Cesar Romero was gay?
What?
Cesar Romero was gay?
Exclusively. Never had a woman in his life. Rock Hudson, who took me to dinner twice while my mother was ill, begged me to go home with him to his castle. I couldn't because my mother was then in a Brooklyn hospital suffering, and I had to take the red eye. And when he showed me the rope, my mother was in for a bypass on the leg because she died the same way Martha did. Too much nicotine blocked and clogged her arteries. Yeah, and gangrene sets in, you can only amputate. So here she was now, an amputee. And Rock Hudson showed me the rope on his leg, and he showed me a little more. And I looked at it. I said, first of all, I'm not in the mood. Second of all, do you need a passport when you travel with that? I never saw a 15-inch cock. That's abnormal. What do you do with that?
Okay, we can't use
that. I thought you need a third shoe or something.
Okay, Mark, thank you so much for coming on. Okay, we're going to have you back. Okay, we'll have you back in a couple months.
Okay.
Keep us informed of what's going on. Okay, if you hear back from Trump and he wants to come on the show, let me know.
Get me anything. Get me the MP3 of what we just interviewed, and I want Mr. Trump to hear it, and I would like to post it on my
you got it.
Page if I know how.
I'll post it on your page for you. I'm going to post it on your page for you in a little while, but about an hour.
You can?
Okay? Yeah. Are you kidding me? Sure.
Post it on 2 pages. My regular site where we chatted and my private Facebook group page, President Donald J. Trump by Mark Harris, of which I'm approaching a very large membership. It's private. You have to go there to be asked to join, and then I will permit you.
Okay, Mark, I'm going to... Well, then you have to let me join then before I can post it on air.
Oh, I would let you join.
Okay.
You're not the type to write smuts and anti-American stuff and all that.
I love America. And I love you, Mark Harris. Okay, thank you for coming
I
on.
love you, too.
I'm going to play
and thanks.
I'm going to play the song.
The MP3.
I'm going to play the song to take us out here. Thank you, Mark Harris. Good night.
Oh, okay. Take care.
Bye. Okay, there we had it. Mark Harris from the famous Howard Stern show appearances. He married Martha Ray. A lot of people said he married her for her money. But he's a colorful character, and you know, whatever his motives are, you know, the guy's all over the place, man. You gotta love him. And I think this guy, we got into a little bickering last night on Facebook, and you know, we made up, you know, in the middle of the night. We were both probably drunk. I know I was a little drunk. And so then I said, you know, come on the show. I'll let you promote your songs here. I'm going to play a song in a minute to play us out. And we can debate about Trump, you know. And my God, this conversation just went all over the place. It was just, he starts a sentence, goes all over. But I enjoyed the show. Okay, I definitely enjoyed the show. And what do you call it? If anybody out there can help out Mark Harris by uploading, he has all these songs. Like I'm a Gay Papa, some other guy has it uploaded on YouTube, and he's making the money from it. Mark's not making any money from that. So you can help him out, you know. And I'm sure after this appearance representing Trump that we're gonna Trump on our doorstep. Hey, but by the way, another thing too is I wanted to tell everybody here in Vegas, if you're living here in Vegas and you're in town for the debate on Tuesday, me and Vic will be at the Bernie Sanders rally across the street from the Wynn Hotel, marching with the nurses union, and also with the Bernie Sanders bunch. And then we were invited to the Bernie Sanders headquarters for their debate viewing party. Okay, so we're going to be attending that on Tuesday. If you want to try and hook up with me between now and then and come down there and join us, let me know, and I'll try and get you in and see if we can work it out. And that's going to be a lot of fun. I met Senator Tick. I think it's Libidoux, something like that is his name, is his last name. He's a local senator here. He's like the marijuana advocate, but he's as a state senator here in Nevada. I met him at the Bernie Sanders headquarters the other day. I think it was yesterday we went. And I also met Mr. Farrell, who is the Nevada State campaign manager for Bernie Sanders. So we're going to be having some Bernie Sanders people on the show and making some announcements to try and organize around people that are supporting Sanders for future stuff. Feeling the burn. Someone made a comment on Facebook. They said that I can't believe you support that communist, right? Another one was saying that people want more government that's going to take away all our freedoms. You think you want freedom? So I said we should have internment camps. You know, like in internment camps, but internment camps. Anyway, ha ha ha. I'm a funny guy. Guys, I had a lot of fun tonight with Mark Harris. And I'm going to play out this song here. It's called Won't You Stay Home, Bill Clinton. Okay, and hopefully we'll have Mark back on soon. Good night, guys. I love you. Coming up on Friday, we have Falcon and the Snowman. We're going to be doing this Friday. Good night.
Won't you stay home, Bill Clinton? Won't you stay home? You screw around too much. I met with Jennifer Flowers. She did confide. You simply made her sick. And Paula Jones, I'm sure you had so many more. I hope you didn't do it wrong. You're a grand liar too, takes advantage, it's true. You're simply really oversexed. Okay, Bill, so how many women did you sleep with? I guess you discovered your little Peter was for more than just peeing. So in your case, I guess your Peter is more out of your pants than in. We all remember how you used our Oval Office as your private bordello. With the cameras running, do you have any plans on who will be next? And what's up with Hillary? Do you ever have time to satisfy her? The both of you do sleep in the same bed, don't you? You have screwed so many that it's a good thing Hillary won't win the election, giving you the title as America's first man. Otherwise, your Peter would have gone on a worldwide campaign and doing everything to satisfy your hunger for sex, as well as for more money for your foundation. Oh, you're such a natural hard-on. Remember Monica Lewinsky under your desk? Did you even have a condom on? But used a cigar, was it even lit? Did you even really bite the tip? You know you're to blame, Bill. Don't you feel shame, Bill? I bet you had so many you can't name. Do you think at all about Hillary or Chelsea too? With a hubby and a grandkid too. So just stay at home, Bill, and masturbate alone. Or try the chat line on the phone. Approaching 70 years, now you're not some kiddo, but seem to have a strong love veto. So let me say, Bill, you and Hillary have